Welcome to the Foreclosures Daily webinar, where Foreclosures Daily connects buyers with motivated sellers since 2004. I'm your host, Nancy Wallace-Laabs, and I am the founder of, I do a lot of things, but I'm a founder of Money Making Mamas. So Foreclosures Daily is your trusted nationwide real estate lead partner. They have a nationwide reach, connecting investors, realtors, attorneys, and first-time buyers with high-quality leads. They're an industry leader in, like I said, they've been in business since 2004, and they've become the internet's top destination for detailed, timely real estate information. Expertise that you can trust, that their commitment to excellence ensures you receive the most accurate and up-to-date data available. Go. All right. So who am I? Nancy Wallace-Laabs. So I've been a customer of Foreclosures Daily since 2008, and I specialize in their pre-probate leads. I am a licensed real estate broker here in Texas. I've written a book, which we're going to talk about, national speaker with extensive experience in the off-market property acquisitions. I do live in Frisco, Texas, with my hubby Brian and our two dogs, Murray and Kyla. I also have the podcast host along with my daughter Kelsey of Money Makin Mamas, and we are on all the platforms, Apple, Spotify, that kind of thing. And we co-founded Money Makin Mamas as a mother-daughter duo, and we host Money Makin Mamas, sharing insights on not just real estate and investing, but also balancing entrepreneurship with family life, community membership. We have a community of moms where we offer affordable mentorship programs designed to empower moms to learn real estate investing on their own terms and schedules. And one of the reasons that we decided to focus on moms and women, I did this presentation at our chamber the other day, and I was doing some statistics, and statistics are what they are, right? But this one kept coming up. So women that are listening to this, so in the US, okay, of all the real estate investors, less than 32% of us are in the field, right? It's very male dominated. Sorry, Tyler, it is, right? So really, women, what keeps you from investing? Well, the two big things are fear. And it's not just like because you're afraid of investing, but afraid of losing your money, fear of making the wrong mistake, and imposter syndrome, like we just don't have enough confidence. So Money Making Mamas, we break down those barriers that keep moms from investing. So my daughter has two children, 3 and 2, and she invests on a part-time basis, and I've been investing since 2006. Now, one of the things you get when you become a client of Foreclosure Daily is you're going to get my book, Winning Deals and Heels. And so this is my story plus 9 other women who have overcome obstacles and started real estate investing. And the cool thing is that we all started different ways, but the theme of the book is that along the way, I think each and every one of us got a mentor. Each and every one of us had to say, okay, I have all these things as a woman, as a business person. How can I fit real estate investing in? So this is what the book is about. So you can always connect with me on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel, the Money Makin Mamas. And when you type in Money Makin, make sure it's MAKIN, and follow us on our podcast because we do some funny things. And we just launched this year, so we're pretty excited. We just reached over 122 downloads. So I don't know if that's good or not, but it seemed good to us.
That's awesome. Triple digits.
Yeah. So, okay. So how is Foreclosures Daily different? There's an advantage, and I can actually speak to this because I've been one of their clients, right? So number one, it's real estate focused data. So the lists come with real estate specific information. So I've used other list companies, and I paid for the list. I got the list, and some of the names, some of the information, there was no real estate. And, they would have estate things like coins and guns and all that. And that's great if you're into that, but I'm not. Depending on the type of leads that you want or that you end up signing up for, you can get them daily, weekly, or monthly. As I said, I get the pre-probate, and I get those every Wednesday. So I have my system where I'm marketing to those leads every couple weeks and just sending them out. And if you want to know how, you have to reach out to me, but it's a very simple process, right? In the information, you're going to have property appraisal insights. It actually has the value of the property. So for me, I like to look for properties that have a value of under $300,000. Now, if you're a listing agent and you're looking for a house, high-end listings, because it'll go from $10,000 all the way up to 2 million or higher. It's their leads are specialized for real estate, unlike other reports from other companies, and the data is farmed exclusively for the real estate market. And they prioritize delivering up-to-date targeted information to keep you as the investor or realtor ahead. Now, what kind of leads do they have? Okay, they got all kinds. They got the probate, they got the pre-probate, they have the absentee owners, they have divorce leads, they have distress leads, code violations, eviction, inheritance, auctions, tax leads, Liz pendants. I always have to say that over and over again and practice it. And then cash buyers list. So that if I can't, I mean, Tyler, can you think of any other leads that they don't have? I mean, that's pretty much it if you're an investor, right?
That is pretty much every, quick tag. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of another, unless you were doing
Hired
driving for
land.
dollars. That's the only other lead that they don't have is driving for dollars. So, because you have to go do those yourself. Now, when you become a client of Foreclosures Daily, you're going to not just get leads, you're getting a whole support system, right? You're going to have a person that you work with. They have all kinds of resources, but one of them is if you've never done direct marketing before, you actually have a couple of different options. So this is from Go Big Printing, and they have postcards, and you can go in there. And I've actually used that middle one there. I didn't ever do the picture, but I used a similar card that said, I buy houses. And if you've been investing any length of time or live in a house, even if you rent it, you might get a card that says, I buy ugly houses. So it's kind of like that kind of thing. So you go in there, you upload your list, you order your card, boom, and you give them your credit card, and it's as easy as pie. Now you can also have a little bit more professional look if let's say you're a listing agent. Now for me, what I do is I like to use the cards. So this is the way I do my leads is I have someone write my cards out. This is a company that it's called Direct Mail with a Personal Touch Marketing by Hand. And they actually write these very nice note cards to the lead list. So it looks a little more professional. Okay. So sorry.
All right. Go.
Okay, now, Tyler, I'm gonna have you take it away.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, what I'm
So
gonna do is I'm gonna stop share and I'm gonna let you share.
okay.
There we
I
go.
mean, you can bring that same screen up if you wanted to. Because just people were
Here you
probably
go.
expecting Cole to be on here. I've been working with Cole, for lack of a better word, kind of right hand man for the last 5 or 6 years. And he actually got me started in off market real estate. So he was, I mean, 18 or 19 when he did his first deal, first wholesale deal. He was, I believe, a realtor before that or working in a residential office and didn't like it, got into off market, started wholesaling, wholesaled a couple houses, wholesold to a couple big flippers in the area, led him to bigger pockets, got some social media attention, stuff like that. And that's where I found him. One of his friends from high school was my coach at the time and got hooked up with him, became a one-on-one client, and kind of the rest is history. So we've done a bunch of masterminds. I've been a part of pretty much every group, seen him go from uh, like where he was just kind of small wholesaling to, I mean, the guy, big business. The guy's killing it. And it's all centered around uh, providing leads for real estate personnel. So it doesn't have to be investors. Um, it's realtors as well and stuff like that. And I think, I mean, I haven't gone that deep into his numbers. He won't let me, but I would love to see what he can do for a retail office.
Yes.
But
And
yeah,
Tyler, thank you. So I gained my voice back. So yes, everyone, Cole was our speaker tonight, but he was traveling between Paris and London. So Tyler Eaton, he stepped in and graciously offered to fill in tonight. Yay. So he's the right-hand man of Cole. So I did pull up your presentation here. So data deep dive. So tell him a little bit about what Carbon 3 Consulting is all about, and I'll just kind of, you tell me when to hit go.
Oh, absolutely. So, uh, Carbon 3 Consulting, just quick name. But I started consulting for real estate companies about 6 months ago. And there's a long backstory that Cole's got a lot to do with there. And so we'll kind of just dive in, I think. First of all, I'm Tyler. I'm up here in the Seattle area. Um, and the yeah, what I do is consulting. I was Cole's first one-on-one client back in the day to a wholesale group that was called the Lions Den. And so we've done a bunch of stuff up until this point. He is, I mean, business mastermind, kind of, in my opinion. Like his ability to put people in the right spots, formate a business just by itself is fantastic. His ability to put pen to paper is nuts. So I've learned a lot from him. My we can go to the next slide here. So my real estate journey, and this all lead to talking about data here and lead gen. Is I after college I started in commercial leasing. Was really excited. Thought commercial was the spot to be at. Um, was not great. Leasing is tough. Leasing pays the bills. The sales is what really kind of stacks the bank account and allows you to make additional income or a lot of additional income. And typically speaking, young guys don't get a ton of opportunities like that. Um, excuses, excuses. I met Cole in the summer of 2020, uh, and he was offering one-on-one like client services for wholesaling and off-market real estate, and it sounded fantastic to me. Everybody knew it was blowing up on the internet and stuff like that, and so I ended up taking the leap, doing that for 3 or so years. Did some deals. I was a solo wholesaler, which, if anybody in here is honestly solo in anything is tough. A lot of moving parts, a lot of things to manage, in addition to acquiring, selling the deals, stuff like that. I had a brief stint as a just a realtor. Did a couple deals. Loved the work. Uh, I had a couple unique houses, like custom built by a guy that was in his 60s and spent 20 years building it. And there's just nothing that you can do to make them as happy as you want to make them. And that was my only gripe. Outside of that, it was a great time. But uh, fast forward to 24. Um, Foursquare is a wholesaling company up here in Seattle, just east of Seattle. It's in Kirkland. And I actually met them at our first mastermind in San Diego with Cole and the rest of HelloPad. And talked to them, did some deals with them over the years. And then they had a spot open up that I that fit my skill set really well. So it was underwriting and sort of director of acquisitions. And so deal analysis, data, lead gen, and kind of all the back end systems that support a really good sales process is what I sort of took a liking to and specialized in. I didn't really know it when I got hired. And so that bullet point says huge aha moment. In September, well, August, I was kind of given the keys to managing all of our acquisitions process. So everything from data to contract was like my job to oversee that. And it's it's quite a bit, but um, we were able to make huge leaps in our closing rate, our revenue, uh, average fee size, all that stuff, and actually made it a lot easier for us to get into flipping because we had so many opportunities. And that has spiraled into what I see ending up as full-time consulting. And so what I do for my clients is I pull data, I advise on uh, their deals that they have under contract, their sales process, uh, all the typical stuff that'll help a sales business acquire more deals. So next one. Oh, Nancy, we can go to the next slide. Okay, aha moment. So, like I mentioned, this was kind of end of Q3 last year. Is the I knew how to pull data and things like that. Never thought that it was going to be like a big deal. Um, which I still think there's so many parts that go into a business, and a strong sales process and a strong sales team that sales and acquisitions, by the way, completely interchangeable for me. So just bear with me on that. Um, but we actually had some pretty good growth, and that'll be on the next slide. So this comes with a little bit of caveats because at first it looks like what are you talking about? It looks like you guys dipped immediately. So we had a sales team of 4 sales guys starting 2024. And this is the biggest business that I work for. And we did about 2.2 million last year in revenue. Um, and we started the year with 4 sales guys. By the end of Q2, we were at 1, and unfortunately found out that there was an employee stealing like 6 figures from us. And so that 393, you see those asterisks there, is in spite of being down 75% on our sales team. We have one, now we have multiple, but we had one really strong sales guy that was like, no, I'm going to make my career here. So thank God for him. But uh, I took over um, end of August, start of September. And so anybody that's done off-market real estate, like if you were, whether you're flipping or buying or whatever, once you get that contract, if you were to sell it, that kind of cash conversion is like 90 to 120 days. And so that's where we really see things kind of kick in from uh, where our, new data sets, new opportunities really start to show themselves. So um, all things considered, Q3 was strong. Q4 ended up being our strongest, which is wild considering it's Thanksgiving, Christmas. And then Q5 is really where Q5 is Q1 of 2025. So we can go to the next slide. So we are obviously not done with Q5 or Q1 of 2025. But we in January closed 435,000. And then in uh February we closed, still early, so we haven't done all of our books yet, but it's like 340. And then we're set to do another about 400 in March. And so that was a huge thing. And there was a very, very clear uh catalyst to that, and that was shaping our data around what we are able to do as a company and who our buyers are. And so, like, and it's on a bigger scale, right? Because we're not doing one deal a month, we're doing several. And so, to pull 100,000 plus records to curate towards the end goal of a sold contract, not just a signed PSA that's assignable, but a signed, closed, money in the bank, was really big for us.
So
And
Tyler, I'm going to interrupt you for just a second. So Elizabeth has a question. She said, wholesaling has become very saturated and even with a
totally,
bad reputation. So how differently is your team succeeding? Like she says, Q2 question mark. How is the market looking for 2025? And then you might go into where is your market because you don't just do a
Yes.
lot of different markets.
Yes. Yeah. So we right now we are heavy Washington, North Carolina. Um, and again, that's like serving where our buyers are. So we did some in Arizona, but heavily Washington, North Carolina. And wholesaling, it is saturated. Um, I've been in wholesaling, for lack of a better word, for like 5 years, and it's changed a lot. And the thing that I tell my clients, because I think the online space is more saturated than anything. And I think that freaks people out and kind of scares them from getting into it. Because there's so many opinions out there, right? Like you watch like Eric Klein or someone talking about how to close, and it seems like really, really aggressive. And that does not work in Washington State. It just does not. And for North Carolina, maybe I think that creates a lot of friction in your business. And so the way that we differentiate ourselves big time is um, being the company and having a sales process that is so focused around making the deal work for the seller and taking the time to get to know them, not like sit down and buy them dinner and stuff like that, uh, but on the phone, having a cadence that's not centered around getting them to sign and more centered around like, hey, we have a super talented team that like we know what we're doing. There's an answer and a number for every house, for every deal. And so we know that we can help you. It's just we got to figure out how to get there and what works for both of us. Um, and so it's less like Wolf of Wall Street than the internet makes it seem, I would say.
So can you talk a little bit about your teams then? So if you're because you're in Seattle, so if you're um, handling deals in North Carolina, do you have a team that works there? How can you kind of talk about how your infrastructure works for your company?
Yeah, so we don't have any boots. I mean, we don't have any Foursquare people in North Carolina. It is entirely virtual.
Hmm.
Um, the, I mean, that is also a very, very competitive market. Uh, but it's not to the point that Southern California, New York, Miami, Seattle is currently, right? And so the buyers there are aggressive, which allows us to like we like to be friends with our sellers as much as possible. It's so hard in wholesaling because they get a million phone calls from whoever, they get mail from whoever, and most I forget who asked the question. Um, but to that question, uh a lot of people that wholesale are extremely lazy in their follow-up, which can be very annoying to people, right? Like if you were getting only cold calls for something that like you kind of wanted, but nobody was really helping you, and it was like the first stateside guy to call you wants you to sign a contract right there, um, and then never calls you again, that's annoying. So, good follow-up for that question. But yeah, we have a title company out there in North Carolina. Uh, we will have brokers usually put the lockbox on the house. And then we just have a an even distribution between our acquisitions people and our dispositions people. So we have the same amount of force selling the deals as we do locking them up.
Yeah, I hit a button and I'm not sure what button I hit to get your thing, but somebody wanted to know a couple questions. Are you a data provider company? And then the follow-up question to that is, if so, which geography do you cover? Do you provide pre-foreclosure or foreclosed? And what services do you provide? So it's same person asking all those questions. So in the meantime, I'll go back and get the presentation.
Yeah, so I'm not a data provider per se. I pull lists for it's you're paying for the labor, for the mental labor. It's my clients use batch leads, prop stream. Uh, Batch leads also owns a uh system called batch data that's for like more enterprise type businesses. That's what we use it at Foursquare. It brings your cost down quite a bit. But no, I yeah, I don't have like my own data company or anything like that. It's just curating their front end process. So I can cover wherever. Uh is the nice thing. Doesn't limit me to where we can go. I I've never worked with someone in a lawyer state before. That seems like a headache. I'd love to find out how that business looks.
Now,
But
is this the slide then that you were at? Because I think we were on your
go back one.
one. Okay. There we go. How you pull data.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Okay, I don't know what's happening here.
oh, I think you played
Did
the
it go too far? Oh
no,
my
I'm
gosh.
just
Okay,
playing.
why don't
So,
you start with the yeah, I'll go back and get that.
let's see. Nancy, if you want me to share it as well, I can.
Yeah, why don't I have you do it? I think it's easier to go through the because of the Google Docs. So let me just go and let you do the sharing.
Okay.
Okay, you should be able to share now.
Sweet.
There you go. I
All
appreciate
right.
it, Betty. Seems like I'm having a little bit more technical difficulty than I normally do. I think I'm going to blame it on the cold meds. Okay. And while you're pulling that up, we have some more questions. So I'm going to kind of go to them too. Okay, Jay, I think we answered all of theirs. Oh, okay. So, we have a question. They want to know, what do you do with the properties? Do you sell them or keep them as rentals?
So our company does both and flip. And we also do like new construction, novations. And that's part of something I'll kind of get into. Um, but yeah, we do quite a bit. So having a strong dispo process and being able to take down deals is going to make you or make your return way higher on any list that you're pulling and stuff like that. Um, so does that make sense? Does that sound all right?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure. Uh, so this is fantastic. We were super excited. Q2 of this year, we're already on track, or we've already got 420 some odd thousand assigned, ready to go. And then I do so I have a one-on-one client that is just a wholesaler, three callers, not anything crazy. He's doing 50K a month, and then flip client in-house is doing over 100. And so we've kind of touched on this, but I do want to have a disclaimer in here. Uh, Data is not here to save you. It's an optimization tool. You still need strong sales and acquisition systems and habits. Follow-up is there's nothing that pays more than strong follow-up. Um, but it's what we figured out is that if you take your time and really get down to the nitty-gritty of it, and identify your buyers and pull data to serve them, it can be optimization on steroids. And so there's a million things that I could go into, like just nuances to the job and stuff like that. But um, first thing that I found interesting is and I've pulled hundreds of lists, uh, is the way that you filter, like if you're on batch batch leads or prop stream or anywhere, and they have those filters, there are they get their data from like county records, right? And so some of those filters are going to be estimations uh, based on other info that they pull from the county. And so knowing differences like that can help you get like just more accurate data, which will end up giving you more connection rate or better connection rates and more deals. So one thing is like equity percentage versus last sale date. So if you want to find people with high equity percentage, that is going to be an estimate. Like I don't know of any counties that pull an equity percentage and keep track of that, but you can whittle down to that by like a last sale date because that will be listed with the county. That goes through an MLS and is listed with the state. And typically, like you're going to get people in there that, took out HELOCs or, cash out refinance or things like that. But the, which may be a good thing because they might need to sell it, right? And then the other people who haven't done that have owned it for 10 years and they're going to have enough equity to where if the house is in disrepair, they'll take a lower number. Um, and then data is about creating new opportunities or as many opportunities. Like I said, it's not here to save you. You still have to have a good, business structure and habits. Um, But if you know who your buyers are and you can identify your sellers and what characteristics they personally or the asset that they own uh, has, then you can cast a more specific wide net. So you can bring more people into your data set that fit your criteria than your competition is doing or than a YouTube video on, how to pull data is going to give you. And so also going into that, don't be afraid to work the asset. So if you look up any videos on off-market real estate or real estate investing, they're going to tell you to pull a list based on something that is wrong with the seller or the owner, right? Pre-foreclosure, bankruptcy, divorce, something like that. And um, I think I had a thing in here that said common sense pays. But if you think through uh, some of the deals that you've done in the past, some of the buying that's going on in your area, you can use property specific filters to whittle down to what would fit that buy box. So, for example, um, I have two on here. Uh, oh yeah, we'll get into that last one. So zoning entries. I use this for the first time in September, and you have to enter them. You have a little trial and error in there because you have to enter them perfectly. But once it works, it's almost 100% hit rate. The only thing that's like you can never blame the data company for or the data provider for getting that wrong. It's going to be on the county, and counties are pretty pretty accurate. Um, and so that's pretty cool. Um, and that way you can get a lot more people into that list. And if you've got a strong buyer for those types of properties, a lot of the times you're calling the seller with an offer that far exceeds anything that they've ever gotten before, right? Because caveat to this, and like we talked about earlier, most of the people that are calling and trying to get off market real estate are trying to get through their leads as fast as possible. Um, they're not following up. They're, most likely using a quick and dirty, like 65% of Zillow or something like that. There's not a lot of dynamic thinking behind their offers, and stuff like that. So and then it's another thing, it decreases friction in your deals tenfold. If you can call someone and give them twice the amount that they've ever been offered, you have zero friction in the closing process. And in wholesaling, especially, that pays so much. Um, and then serve your business's strengths. So over time, like you're going to find out that, your area has specific types of deals that um, are really lucrative and super hot. So for like Seattle, a lot of new development going on east of Seattle. Seattle proper is not super huge on like single family new construction. And then their multifamily right now has to be like um, government assisted, or there's some weird thing with that. So not Seattle, but Bellevue, which is east of Seattle, huge on new construction. And they are, for a 7,200 square foot lot, all it has to be is flat. And even then, it doesn't have to be. They're paying like 1 to 1.3 million dollars. And so there's a bunch of neighborhoods that were built in the 1950s. And while everybody else is pulling lists of like these seller specific uh, tags, we're going and pulling a list of every pre 1960s house built on 7,200 square feet, um, and getting crazy deals because you can go offer them a million. Developer is going to pay 1.2, and you made a $200,000 assignment fee. And they're closing, like when they say they're going to close, they're going to close. You're not dealing with like weak buyers or anything like that. And then with both of these, an example in Seattle is the DADU laws that went into effect last year and I think are continuing to expand this year. Your lot can be so tiny, like, uh, and you can get a DADU on it, and people pay a ton of money for those. And so knowing what can be done with zoning, and almost taking the underwriting process and putting it into your data set is huge because you can enter those and call people that have never been called before because they're not going to show up on a bankruptcy list. They're not going to show up on a tax delinquent list. They're just regular Joe, and you can go offer them over Zillow or something close.
So Tyler, just to follow up on that one. So Susan had a question about your basic criteria, which I think you just went over, depending on what you're looking for, right? But then someone else wanted to know, are you doing cold calling or postcards, or what's your marketing? Can you say?
Cold
Will
call.
you say?
I'll say, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Thank you.
I do not gatekeep, that is for sure. So I'm huge on cold calling. And I know that there's laws and regulations around that make it a little bit tough. Uh, which you have the choice of, as a business owner, dealing with that yourself or hiring a more professional call center, which I should have had a slide in here about this. But we use Easy Button Leads, which is Cole's call center, because like I know guys that hire cold callers a la carte, one off of like Fiverr. And that's tough because you have to teach them sales. There's a language barrier. Um, and you got to be on top of them kind of every day. But if you're hiring professional callers or employing a call center, especially a call center as robust as Cole's, um, your callers are managed, your leads are quality controlled, and you get instant metrics on all of the lists that you pull, which is like there's nothing more valuable for the front side of your business. And the reason that I'm big on cold calling is because you can work with your call center to send you more than just the people that say, absolutely, I'm ready to sell like yesterday for half of Zillow, right? Because ideally, that's every lead. We all know that's not every lead, but there's a ton of people that they get in contact with that's like, no, not right now. Like, but like, what's your offer? Maybe whatever. And there's call centers that I'll say, send them through, send those people to me because I trust my internal sales guys. There's two things to this. I trust my internal salespeople to be able to close that deal, one, and then two, the step from going from cold caller to a stateside real estate professional is so powerful because there's a lot of doubt in someone's mind when they get a call from overseas or wherever, uh, that they're like, this is a scam. But if they get a call from, hey, this is Tyler. I'm just down the road in Kirkland. Sounds like you talked to my assistant. They might ask you like, oh my, yeah, like where are they calling from? But it's good to hear from you. And so there's a lot of power in that. And then you control the amount of contacts in your database, which is my favorite part because you're controlling your opportunities. Whereas mail, they have to call you, right? It's like an inbound, outbound. It's like a weird hybrid. I like mail for certain, mail dominates in certain, not like that, Nancy, I promise. But mail absolutely dominates in some respects of the industry. Like if there's, people with landlines, right? Elderly folks, uh, be, be be
I'll give
legal.
you an, so I don't know if you pull, so pre-probate, I used to like get the list, I had my caller, my mojo or whatever, and I would
Mhm.
call. Yeah, that did not work. And I have I've been in call centers and all of that, and that was not a good for that segment of the population because you're dealing with people who somebody had recently passed away.
Yeah,
So
so
to
you're
get the
greatly
to
from
get yeah,
spending
so
more.
you have to focus on getting them to open the card to call you, right? Because they might not be ready.
Yeah,
And when they're dealing with, and if they do call and they're not ready, they're, and this is why I teach is that they're going to call you some really angry stuff, right? Like I've been called a hearse chaser and all that. So I think you have to know what your audience is, right? Who you're,
totally.
right. So if you're calling those old, or, you're cold calling those older folks, and if there are a criteria that people aren't pulling, because I think that's what I heard too, is that you're kind of focusing on lists that are not as competitive.
That and that comes from going, I think, filtering your data to go after the asset instead of the
Mm-hmm.
person. Because if you're calling a bankruptcy or someone in bankruptcy, they're not only going to be getting calls from real estate people, but credit companies, collection company, like they're just not going to be picking up their phone. And so I like to focus much more on the asset if possible. But yeah, the reason I like cold calling is because you control your opportunities. Um, and even if you have a database full of no's, you at least have control over being able to call them, being a good salesperson, following up, and waiting for the time to be right. Because it might be no today, but if you're the greatest person that they've ever talked to, which the bar's not that high, you're going to be the one that gets that deal eventually.
Now, there was another question just really quick about what percent of acquisitions are dispositioned out successfully to an end buyer?
So like what's our close rate?
I guess so, yeah.
So it client to client it's different. At scale it's probably like 75.
Hmm.
Um and that will ebb and flow throughout the year. Uh a lot of things hinge on that, to be honest with you. Your underwriter, uh your dispo people, how hard they're working. Because the days of being able to post something on Investor Lift and just let it ride are kind of not great. So your dispo people have to be on it. Uh,
Hmm.
I'd say at scale, if you're below 60%, you have a problem. Uh, but on average, I think 60 to 75. If you're over 90, I don't think you're swinging the bat enough, my opinion. But yeah, if you're solo, it can be a lot higher. Like my one-on-one client in Wisconsin, his close rate is like 80%, 80 plus.
Hey,
Yeah. Did I? Oh, whoops. Okay. So anyways, all that to be said, your goal is higher connection rates, when that data is getting hit, and then new prospects that have never been talked to before. And then we've kind of talked about this, leveraging good data and just kind of supporting it, bringing the best out of, what you have, all the things that you are in control of, kind of communication with your call center, or get someone, okay, I did put a note in here, or get someone like EBL, that does it entirely for you, is going to be beyond professional, um, and is going to be the best first touch. Because the better you can make that first contact, the better chance you have to close it. Like, for real. It is wild how much that changes. Strong acquisitions, and if you take anything away from this, follow up. Do not miss a single callback, and you will make more money than you know what to do with. And then marketing and dispo, like I said, I think posting it on Facebook and Investor Lift is fine. But the way that you're going to get the biggest fees and the easiest closings, that don't take your time away from building the business, is by individualized relationships with your buyers. So same thing, acquisition, dispo, they talk to sellers, relationships with them. Dispo talks to buyers, relationships with them. And that's about it. I hope that makes sense.
It did. It was good.
Okay.
So I'm gonna, we don't have any questions now, but I'm gonna go back to my share now. Um, and we'll stay, whoops, here we go. A lot of going around here. Okay, can you see my screen now? Wait, hold on. Am I presenting? There I am. Present. There we go. Okay, do you see my screen where it says 6-step mailing campaign?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much, Tyler. I'm gonna go ahead and come back online, and hopefully I'll get through and if you all are hanging there and you have more questions, please drop them in the chat and we're gonna go back to them. So, and someone did ask about handwriting, the company handwriting, the handwrites, and I don't think they have a minimum. So if you're working with foreclosuredaily.com, they can just go in and pull your leads for you. And we did it, and sometimes they did smaller lists and bigger lists. So I don't think they have a minimum. So you just need to talk with them and just get with your rep from foreclosuredaily.com, and they will get you in touch with Wendy. And I believe she's going to be up on an upcoming webinar here. So, but when you become the client of foreclosuredaily.com, you get some bonuses. So not only are you getting some really good leads with real estate and this awesome webinar, but they're going to show you a six-step mailing campaign, a 6-touch follow-up strategy. And I couldn't agree more, Tyler, with we always say the gold is in the follow-up, right? The gold is in the
100%.
follow-up. Yeah.
100%.
And if you've never cold called anybody, there's phone scripts that you'll get. If on probate leads, you can actually email or call the attorneys, and they have all of that information there. You can get professionally designed postcards and letters. You'll get the Winning Deals and Heels book sent directly to you. And I'm pretty excited because I wrote the book, I think it was in like 2018, 19, and things have changed. So I was very happy to do an updated version of what's been going on since I wrote the book in my real estate investing. And you'll also get exclusive links for any of those discounted mail rates, exclusive link for reduced skip tracing rates. You'll get webinar training on innovative marketing techniques. And hey, you can always get, and I think they send you the link to my pre-probate webinar I did back in November. So Foreclosures Daily, if you're not a client, they have sales going on, but for this webinar, there's a webinar special, and it's good through Friday night. So this is where you can buy one county and get one free. So that applies to any of the leads that we went over. And like Tyler agreed with me, there are no other leads unless you're doing driving for dollars, right? So you got your probate, pre-probate, inheritance, and basically the more you purchase, as far as how many weeks, the more you're going to get, right? So you can spend $600 and just get 3 months of leads, one county, add on 50%, right? Or if you spend $1,000, you get 26 weeks. And in any lead, and Tyler, would you agree with this or no, or no? So when you're working leads, you can't just like, okay, yes, sometimes when you call people, you get a deal right then and there, but sometimes it takes a couple touches, you know.
It's our average is 90 days
Yeah.
from me.
So if you just try for 12 weeks and you don't get anything, it could have been in that 14th week. So it's something that you have to kind of get in and get
Yeah.
involved and get your process going. And you get your process going and the phone starts ringing and it just keeps going, going. So the best deal is really to get the leads for a year because then you're almost, I'm not going to say guaranteed because it depends on how you talk to the sellers, but
Our
I can,
call.
yeah, exactly. Now in Florida, they have a different deal. So you can get 3 months for $479. Now these are the foreclosures. You can spend $800 for 6 months, $12.99 for 1 year, and then it gives you all these savings. But the cool thing, I guess I just can't emphasize this enough. The more you spend, the better the savings. Because if you went with for this 52 weeks, you're going to save 646. I mean, look at that. That's like that pays for the first the 12 weeks, right? So you look at it that way. And then in Florida, you can also do these a la carte, such as the absentee, free and clear tax lates, and they're $1,000 for 500 of them. But again, this is a webinar special, so buy one, get one, and get in touch with your rep at foreclosuresdaily.com and take advantage of this, right? Now, we are going to open it up for some more questions. You can always email me at nancy@foreclosuresdaily.com. And at the very bottom, you can go to my website. I have a lot of information there. Tyler, what's something that you would leave with everybody about, if they were watching this and like, oh my gosh, he's doing all these, he's got these millions of dollars he's making and everything, and they're just starting out and they're just one person. So what's a couple pieces of advice that you would give them?
I was there. I was you. Uh, just by picking up the phone and making an honest phone call to whatever lead, you are worlds ahead of your competition. Worlds ahead.
Yes, I would have to agree. You have to start
Ignore
somewhere.
imposter syndrome.
Yeah, and remember in the very beginning, because it's not just women that have a fear, it's just men don't talk about it as like we do, right? But but you don't know what you don't know. So, okay, Julie wanted to know what was the company that you used for cold calling? Was that Easy Button? Was that the name
Easy
of it?
button leads. Yeah,
Easy Button.
they
Oh, I
are.
see it now. Okay, she got that. And
Yeah,
then Nick wants to know what stage of foreclosures are those Florida leads? You know what? You need to reach out to your person and ask them. I'm not sure of that because I'm in Texas, so it's a little bit different for us. Yes, Carlos, there will be a recording of this webinar with all of our imperfections tonight. And you, Seth, I think I answered your question about the minimum order amount. Okay, do you guys provide scripts for the call? Now, this is Genevieve, so I don't know if she's talking about Foreclosures Daily or do you guys have scripts? Like, can people come on and use how can the people that are listening tonight, I mean, is there a coaching program you guys do? Can they buy in? Do you sell to them? How can they work with you guys?
so that will be through Easy Button. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So just go follow Cole on Instagram, and uh, they like I said, their sales support is the most robust by a mile. They will
Yes.
pull your data, manage your callers, manage your leads, and provide you pretty much everything. A ton of people in the group are doing insane numbers. I was
Hmm.
in his first group 5 years ago. We were all brand new. No, no, we didn't know what we were doing. Now his students are doing. He has a student right now that did 4.5 million in revenue last year.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it works. And let's get real. He's in London and Paris right now. So he's living the life. So
Yeah.
who's the IL and Illinois and Indiana rep? You know what, David? I will have them get back with you. I don't know. Oh, I think it's Katie. Katie, I can get her information. So we'll get that to you. And then Genevieve, Foreclosures Daily, yes, they provide scripts, somewhat of the scripts. They have phone scripts that are very basic. So most of their scripts have to do with the direct mailing part of it. So, which is very simple. I'm gonna give you the secret sauce. Our secret sauce for the pre-probate is I have a mom write the letter, and it's a note card, a blank note card, and it says, "Dear Smith family, I'm interested in the house at 123 Main Street. If you want to sell, call me, Nancy." It's that with my phone number. It's that easy. Now that's just for pre-probate though. I wouldn't like if I was doing foreclosures or tax lates or, I wouldn't take that approach, but that's what I go after. So
Probate is touchy. Having a mom write it is a kill shot. That's perfect.
yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
and and really the secret to that is getting them to open it, right? And
Mhm.
so I have a lot of people ask me, well, don't you say, "Oh, I'm so sorry for the death in the family"? I was like, no, I don't say that because why? I don't know them. They don't know me. They're gonna hang up. So let me make sure we got all the questions answered. Okay, I think we did. I think we did. Recording. Up, up. Is there a number to reach Tyler in case we have future questions? Okay, Tyler, I'm going to go ahead and why don't you just say your phone number out for everybody? Or can you
Yeah.
drop it in the chat? Let's see. Can you can write in there, right?
Is there a chat?
There's not a chat, there's a Q&A. But you know what? Let's just go ahead. I'll type the answer. It's 206, right? Is that your number you want to give out?
That's perfect.
Okay, what's the
940
940
4852.
4852? And then we'll go ahead and give them your email too.
Yeah, carbon3 consulting at Gmail.
Carbon 3 consulting at gmail.com. And I did go to your website, so you can find him. So there you go. I think everybody can see that. All righty. Well, we don't have any other questions, and it's almost 6. So thank you so much again, Tyler, for stepping in at the last minute. That's
Always,
a
Nancy, thank
true real
you.
estate investor and able
Thank
to
you.
go with the flow, right?
Absolutely. It was awesome to meet you. Thank you guys for the questions and stuff like that. And have a fantastic rest of the week.
All right, sounds good. And we'll see you guys all next month at the same time, same station, and I will be over my cold then. So, all right, see y'all later. Bye-bye.